My name is Tosca Medlock, and I am thrilled to serve this community in working today on today's press conference. This presser, quite frankly, is an urgent call for information that you will receive today regarding statewide redistricting. I want you to listen intently. I want you to engage with questions at the appropriate time, and most importantly, we urge you to activate with your network with the information that you will be provided. Right now, please help me welcome our State Senator, Royce West.
Tasha, thank you very much. Thank each and every one of you for being here this morning. I also want to make certain I thank Councilman Maxie Johnson for making certain that we were able to get this particular room on such short notice. Now, let me just say this starting out. I've heard complaints about why are we doing this on a Friday. The reality is we just found out that this redistricting was going to occur. And so we wanted to make certain that we just don't lay down, that we do everything we can to stop the steal. And this is exactly what this is all about. You will hear from persons from different levels of government that will have a perspective on this issue and encourage you towards action. We're passing out literature right now with information concerning hearings, those in person, and those that are going to be virtual, specifically in this specific geographical area. And so we can move forward, I'm going to ask Congresswoman Julie Johnson to come forward at this point.
Thank you, Senator, for the introduction. I really want to thank you for hosting this press conference on an issue that impacts not only just Texas, but our entire nation. My name is Congresswoman Julie Johnson, and I am proud to represent Texas's 32nd Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives. Let's call this what it is. In Texas and beyond, Republicans are lighting democracy on fire to cling to power at any cost. This redistricting stunt is nothing more than a desperate attempt to strip voters of fair and equal representation. At the same time, these same Republicans rammed through legislation that throws millions of Americans off their health care, slashes Medicaid, takes food away off the tables of children and seniors and veterans, all so they can hand out their massive tax cuts to their billionaire friends. But the thing is, they're not afraid of the consequences of that. And why is that? Because they are intending to rig these elections so that the voters will not hold them accountable. Ask any everyday American, they can't stand this bill. They know it's cruel and they don't want it. And in a real democracy, the will of the people should matter. Republicans don't care because they know that they are going to rig this election to keep themselves from accountability. They know their agenda is unpopular, so instead of changing the course, they're going to rewrite the maps to keep themselves in power, no matter how people vote. That's what this so-called redistricting plan is really about, slicing apart neighborhoods, drowning out voices, and tipping the scales in their favor. It's cheating, pure and simple. And let's be crystal clear, it's also about race, weakening the power of communities of color who keep Texas strong and growing. This is one of the most shameless power grabs we've seen in Texas in decades, and I promise you, we are not going to let them get away with it. Let's talk about the numbers, just to explain how this works. In the last statewide election in Texas, Democrats won 47% of the vote, but Republicans hold 65% of the congressional seats. That gap is not democracy. That gap is rigged, gerrymandered lines. Since 2010, communities of color have driven 95% of Texas population growth. But the last time Republicans drew the maps, they gave 0 new majority-minority seats. 0. Now they want to push it even further, targeting Black, Latino, and Asian Texans whose voices they are determined to silence. Why are they determined to silence them? Because they're racist and they typically vote Democrat. So they don't want communities of color, communities of interest to have their voice at the ballot box, because they know they don't support these terrible policies that the Trump administration is cramming down our throats. Texans of every political ideology, Democrats, Republicans, and independent, deserve fair and honest representation. The people should choose their leaders, not the other way around. District maps should unite communities and amplify their voices, not carve them apart neighborhood by neighborhood, just to prop up one party's grip on power forever. Redistricting is simple. Every 10 years, we count every person and draw the new lines to reflect who we are. That's what our Constitution demands, but this reckless scheme tears that principle to shreds just to protect Republican politicians and weaken our democracy. I spent 3 terms in the Texas legislature, including during the last round of redistricting. I sat in hearings and watched Republican lawmakers swear under oath that their maps were fair and race neutral. So which is it? Were they lying then, or are they lying now? Texans deserve the truth. So let me be clear. We're not going to stand by while they cheat our voters. We will fight this with everything we've got, in courtrooms, in state houses, and in every community where Texans are ready to stand up for their right of fair representation. But let's be clear, the war is Election Day, November 5th, 2026. This is one battle in a long war, but we are going to win the war, and we are going to flip the United States Congress, and we are going to hold the Trump administration responsible for the atrocities that they're doing on our society. If Republicans ram this through, then states led by Democrats should push back just as fiercely, because we're not backing down. We're not giving up, and we will never stop fighting for a Texas where every vote is counted, every community matters, and every voice is heard, no matter who you are or where you live. And let's be perfectly clear about one thing. I'm a Texan. We're Texans. Never in my life did I think I'd see a Texas governor bend both knees to a New Yorker. Thank you so much.
All right. Let me make certain. We need to make certain that if you hadn't provided your email address, you need to make certain you provide your email address. And would you please make certain that we can understand your handwriting too, okay? And why do we want it? We want to make certain that we keep you abreast of exactly what's going on. And this is moving pretty fast. I mean, it's like a train coming down the track at a high rate of speed. Now, does everyone have a copy of this document right here? Is there anyone that does not have a copy of it? All right, then you need to make certain that you get one. Now, let's take a look at this. You'll see that there are other congressional districts that are now under consideration. And I'm going to tell you why they're under consideration. Because we raised hell when we got word, right, Cassandra, about the districts that are under consideration. The targets. The targets end up being minority districts. That's what is really the target of it all. I want you to think about this. Trump, when he opened up his mouth, said what? Texas can get me at least 5 congressional seats. Now think about this. How in the hell did 5 come out of his mouth and no districts, no maps have been drawn? That went right over your head. How did 5 come out of his mouth and no maps have been drawn? According to the chairmans of both the House and the Senate, Nathan, no maps have been drawn. But Trump said he could get at least 5. How did he know that 5 was his target if no maps were drawn? Let me give you another one. You've allowed me to be your senator for some years now, and I appreciate that. This is what I've seen in the past. You got 2 situations where the chair of the Senate Redistricting Committee for 2021 said race was not a factor. She said it as a lawyer, she said it on the oath, Pastor Wilson, in depositions, and also in federal court. She said it on the oath, Hector. Race was not a factor. Well, race is always a factor, you know that. But she was on the oath saying that the Attorney General, Paxton, sends a letter, and I got copies of those letters if you want to see them, to the Justice Department saying the same thing, that race was not a factor in drawing the lines in 2021. That was his response. But yet and still, the state of Texas is moving ahead with redistricting. Now check this out. This is how you know it's a steal. Under the Biden administration, how many lawsuits did the Attorney General file against the Biden administration? Over 100. When it thought the Biden administration, the federal government, was wrong. In this instance, the Attorney General has penned a letter saying you're wrong. But guess what? He's not filing a lawsuit. So it tells you about the conspiracy and that they're using party as a proxy, and it's really just about race, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Just as CRT was about race, just as DEI is about race, this redistricting is not about partisan politics, but it's about race. So keep your eye on the 8 ball. That's why we need you. Even though it's the last minute, it's a Friday. I understand having a press conference on Friday, what that means, okay? It may get covered and it may not get covered. But it's important that you use this document right here. And specifically in North Central Texas. You look on the first page, you see Saturday, July 26th, is going to be a virtual hearing. And for some strange reason, the Senate does not want to have in-person hearings, even though we were on the floor asking them to have those hearings. All of them are going to be virtual. And so we need you to participate. We need you to make certain that you have your constituents and members of your organizations and your churches to participate. And it gives you the directions right here, what you need to do. You have to make certain that by 10 p.m. today that you register and make sure that they register. Yes, late, but you register. And understand that we won't have the benefit of a map that they can look at and comment on. That's by design. And that the map ultimately comes out in the hearing concerning the map for both the House and the Senate will be in Austin. And we're going to have to do everything we can to get thousands of people to come down to Austin. I'm serious. Thousands of people. This is serious, y'all. This is very serious. Julie's already told you, excuse me, Congresswoman. It's already told you that, how serious this is. If Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez, and others could do the work, it's up to us now to do the work, to make certain the clock is not turned back. You know, it's amazing. Had I asked to have this, use this flag room 20 years ago, Roberto, I probably couldn't use it. All right? Then I had to figure out how to go about using it. So I called Maxie Johnson, who's a city council person. And the city council person made certain that we could be here today. That's power. That's power, y'all. It's power. Yesterday, we dedicated a statue to a young man who died when he was 12 years old, being shot by a police officer. Jesse Moreno was the person that put that in place. He was able to get the monies from city council, that's power. And so we do not need to be relinquishing power. We need to be able to sit at the table, have input into the process, and work with our colleagues. And let me, because I'm getting ready to sit down right here. And I want you to also look on the second page, on the back side. I should put that right here. UT Arlington, my alma mater. We need thousands of people out there. Dominique, we need thousands of people out there at UT Arlington to show up. If I'm gonna tell you something, I'm gonna count it as a failure, Casey. If we only have 100 people out there, that's a failure. That tells me that our generation of leaders are not taking this as serious as we should be taking it. Texas is ground zero for this. If they're successful in Texas, they're going to try to do it across this country. Unconstitutional redistricting. So we need you to show up and stay until it's your turn to vote. If you need transportation, let us know. There are elected officials all over here. State, federal, council, all over here. We'll make certain, chair of the Democratic parties here, we'll make certain that you get transportation. And so you need to understand what the rules are. Here's the information. And then we also provided you some different talking points so you'll know the background of it. So does everyone have this and does everyone understand? Okay, I'm gonna now ask my colleague, Senator Nathan Johnson, to come up to comments.
Thank my big brother, Senator Royce West, for putting his power behind this most important issue. And as my good friend Julie Johnson mentioned, this is perhaps the most important issue that we're facing right now. And I want to talk about race just for a minute here. When you look at what you do to gerrymander a state, you take minority voices and you pack them into one place because they're going to vote for Democrats. And they don't want you diluting their chances to have another Republican seat. So they'll put all your voices in one place so that more and more people's voices are heard less and less. But what happens if there are still black people, if there are still Hispanic people that we weren't able to stuff into this district? And they're going to dilute our Republican majority. What do? Well, you know what we'll do? We'll take black people and Hispanic people and we'll put them together in one district and create a new minority district and kind of shovel them off to the side so that their voices are heard less and less. And if there's not enough black people and brown people to marginalize one more time, you know what? We'll pick up white people who vote for Democrats and put them in there. And then we have a coalition crossover district that votes Democrat, and that's what they're coming for now. The one place where you see every race working together to actually improve this nation, to actually represent this state, that's what they're coming for right now. And it's revolting. And they're trying to pit us against each other, and they're trying to silence your voices. And we ain't having it. And if it happens here in Texas, they will try it somewhere else. And even if they manage to get this done, I want there to be such a scare from the voices that Royce West is calling down there to the Capitol right now, that Julie's calling, that I'm calling, that other states say, you know what, we don't even want to take that on. That's scary. I want us to be scary because this moment's scary. I'm embarrassed for our state government. Like Julie, I'm embarrassed that our governor would take a phone call from Donald Trump that says, I need 5 seats, and he'd say, okay, mid-decennial. We don't do mid-decennial redistricting. It's not unconstitutional, but it's pretty much unheard of, and it's definitely a fundamental assault on our democracy. It is a fundamental assault on this country. And that they would do it only because, and here's where it's like really ridiculous, it's not just disgusting like when Tom DeLay did it a long time ago, just because they wanted more seats. Why do they want more seats right now? They want more seats right now because their policies are bad and Americans are pissed off at them and they are likely to throw them out in the 2026 elections. So, oh no, we're going to redistrict right now mid-decennial so that we are not held accountable for our poor leadership. What could be more un-American than denying people the right to vote? More and more people's voices are heard less and less. And this is one step closer to a third term for Donald Trump. This is one step closer towards autocracy. It's not subtle, it's not maybe, it's real, it's now, and it's going to require the voices of every single one of us to scare the hell out of them. Do not mess with American democracy. Do not try to silence the voices of black people or brown people, and certainly do not try to silence the voices of people who think alike and work alike for the betterment of this country. So I join my colleagues, Julie Johnson and Senator Royce West, in opposing this in the strongest possible terms. It is absolutely a do or die moment. Let's do it. Let's do it. Senator, thank you for letting me be here. I'm honored to stand here with you.
I want to call up now State Representative Cassandra Hernandez. Cassandra, let's give her a hand. As I'm calling her up, I want to make certain. Well, I better do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say, they don't make these podiums for us short people.
And I also want to say thank you to Golden Gate. Golden Gate has donated 4 Sprinter vans for transportation for UT Arlington. Let's say thank you.
Thank you so much. I first and foremost wanted to take the opportunity to thank Senator West for putting this on. As soon as we found out about redistricting, he reached out to all of us in the House, in the Senate, our congressional counterparts, and made sure that we jumped on calls to figure out and strategize what we were going to do, because we weren't going to sit around and allow them to shove this down our throats. And so thank you for that, Senator West. With that, I wanted to thank you so much for having me here today. I represent House District 115. My predecessor, now Congresswoman Julie Johnson, is my Congresswoman. And I can tell you, my folks in my district are very concerned, because we have not just 32, but also 33 that we are very much concerned about in these redistricting efforts. As a new member, I can tell you my experience, because we just had our first redistricting hearing yesterday. And I can tell you the amount of people that showed up disgusted that we would once again be here when we shouldn't be was overwhelming. And I will tell you, Texans from across this state are not just gonna take this lying down. And I certainly know our folks here in Dallas County will not allow that either. So thank y'all so much for being here today and being part of these efforts and making sure that we get this information out to people. I saw the hearing yesterday, and for those of you who had the opportunity to watch it yesterday as well, it's a farce of what happened yesterday. We saw numerous Texans from across this state travel miles to make sure that their voices were heard. And I can tell you, every person who stood up that they were willing to listen to and allow to speak literally said, "This is wrong, you're taking our voice away." And we only allowed them 5 hours with that amount of people showing up. Only 5 hours and 2 minutes apiece to speak. That's a farce. Fortunate for our House Democratic Caucus, we created a people's hearing after the fact and informed all of those other over 100+ people who did not have the opportunity to make their voice heard to that committee, have the opportunity to stand amongst the colleagues that were willing, only Democrats, that were willing to sit on the panel and allow them to have their voice heard. And I'm honored to be part of that caucus. That's what leadership looks like. That's what we get elected to do. And we need to continue to keep calling out what this is. It is a farce. Now, is it just Democrats that are fighting for these efforts? No, it's not. I can tell you there are also Republicans that are opposed to this as well. I had Republicans come up to me at the rally before the hearing who told me that they don't always see eye to eye on the stuff that we usually are for. But they were there because they believed what was happening is wrong. This morning, I shared on social media a former state rep, Republican, who headed up the committee for redistricting in the House, who did an op-ed for New York Times, specifically saying that he was calling on us, his colleagues who are still in the House and the Senate, to stand up against redistricting, that it was wrong. And so we need to continue in a unified voice, independents, Democrats, Republicans, if you don't even affiliate with political party at all. And what is happening right now, it's a farce. I can tell you the districts that are included on all of the hearing notices that were yesterday will be Houston on Saturday, in Arlington on Tuesday, or on Monday, I'm sorry. They do not include any of the districts that were included in Donald Trump's letter. Why is that? Because it's a farce, that's why. I appreciate all of my colleagues in continuing to fight and amplify this. Thank you to all of our organizations and our elected officials, and in particular, our news folks and our journalists who are making sure to be hyper-focused on this. People in Texas want us to be fighting for the folks that lost so much in the floods. People who are still literally there's still people who are missing that have not been found. There are people who are burying their children. That's the kind of stuff that we should be working on right now. Making sure that other communities do not suffer the same fate as those families is what we should be working on right now. When I ran for office, I ran to work on those type of issues, not to see people cheat, take people's voices away. And so I'm proud to stand here on behalf of my delegation and tell you that we are going to do everything and anything that we need to. We will use every tool in the toolbox to make sure that we fight this. With that, I'm happy to announce that we've got 15 members from my House Democratic Caucus, some of them that were literally stayed until late last night doing the people's hearing, that are on planes going to 2 other states right now to meet with governors and elected officials to plead with them that if this happens in Texas, we need them to step up. That's the kind of leadership that we need to see from our elected officials. We will not take this lying down. We will fight, and we will fight it together. So thank you so much for joining our efforts. Thank you again, Senator West, for allowing me to be here with you and stand shoulder to shoulder with you. Because these aren't Trump's maps, they're whose maps? Whose maps are these? They're our maps, that's right. Thank you so much.
I think y'all missed that. Representative Hernandez said that their House delegation, members of the House delegation, are going to 2 states, California and Illinois. They have conversations with the governors about what's going on here in Texas. And I'm pretty certain the governors won't sit up and say what they're going to do, but I'm pretty certain, and we will encourage them to continue to watch what's going on in Texas. Because again, this is ground zero, and the question is whether or not we'll be able to get the resources here in the state of Texas to try to turn this thing around, and whether or not the rest of the country will do what's necessary to make sure Trump doesn't get his way. He wants 5 seats out of the state of Texas. You know, when you begin to look at the population here in the state of Texas and who makes up the new population in the state of Texas, it looks pretty much like this room, okay? But yet and still, doing redistricting, the steal started right then and there. And the reason why, my friends, is because we didn't get out to vote. We should never, ever allow that to happen again. But I understand I'm a praying man, and we got to make certain it's his purpose. And so I'm going to ask my friend for a long time now, Pastor David Wilson, to come forward.
Thank you, Senator. I'm reminded of words of a song that we sang during the struggle that became fuel for our efforts. And they used to sing the song, I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. When we look at this redistricting efforts, this is all about race. Because instead of fixing a discriminatory map, conservatives are trying to make it worse. Silencing voters, especially in communities of color, who have fueled the state's population growth. Listen, this is not about party, y'all. This is all about race. It's evidenced by the districts they focus on. From 2010 to 2020, Texas population grew by about almost 4 million people, with less than 2% being white. But the communities the DOJ targets are mainly Black and Hispanic. Can we say the state of Texas should not be redistricting simply because President Trump is afraid that he's losing votes in the already Republican-controlled Congress? Trump wants Texas to redistrict because he needs extra seats, knowing his policies will cause American voters to vote against Republican in the midterm election. We need to stand and we need to be loud that we will not let Trump and his political power grab take from us what rightfully belongs to us. In fact, there's a saying, if it ain't broke, why are you trying to fix it? I challenge you to tell your friends, your neighbors, to join in this effort, to let our voices be heard, that we're not gonna let nobody turn us around.
At this time, we want to make sure we bring up some of our city officials. Again, understand this. We have representation at every level of government, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to cuss and discuss, but still get things done, okay? As long as we have people sitting at the table that have the same interests. So Jaime Resendez, City Council.
If y'all want some cussing and discussing, then y'all got the right one up here today. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. My name is Jaime Resendez. I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran. I'm an attorney, and I currently represent District 5 on the Dallas City Council. District 5 encompasses several neighborhoods out there in southeast Dallas, including Pleasant Grove, Casey Thomas. And so I'm honored and proud to be here standing with you all in this fight for democracy. What we're talking about today is something that threatens the very foundation of our democracy, gerrymandering and the abuse of redistricting. Redistricting is supposed to be a fair process, one that ensures every person's vote counts equally. But instead, too often, politicians draw lines behind closed doors to protect their power, silence dissent, and rig the system in their favor. That's called gerrymandering, and it's not just wrong, it's un-American. Gerrymandering lets politicians choose their voters instead of voters choosing their leaders. It carves up communities, it dilutes the power of working people, it weakens Black and Latino voices, and it creates the districts that serve politicians, not the people who actually live there. This is not democracy, this is manipulation, and we should all be outraged. When politicians rig the maps, we get fewer competitive elections, more extremist candidates, and almost no accountability. No wonder people feel like their vote doesn't matter, because too often it doesn't. But we're here to say that enough is enough. We demand transparency, and we demand fair maps that represent the people, not the politicians. So let's raise our voices, organize our communities, and make it loud and clear. We will not sit quietly while our democracy is stolen behind closed doors. We believe in government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and we're ready to fight for it. Thank you all so much. Let's go get it done.
Councilman Zarin Gracie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Zarin Gracie, council member for District 3. There is a term that people don't like us saying anymore, stay woke. So I'm going to introduce a new term to you all today. In the Bible, at least 14 times, Pastor, the term keep watch is in the Bible. So I'm going to encourage you all to keep watch. You're here because we're keeping watch, right? So now, what are we looking at? What are we seeing? It's already been expressed: the gerrymandering, the manipulation, the narratives that are being thrown out there. All of these different things. Keep watch of what's happening around you, because what comes next is you're going to start to feel it. Many of us have already started to feel it. Many of our brown residents have already started to feel it, and it's just a matter of time before you start to feel it. I don't care what your what your party is. You're going to feel it if you're black or brown. So I need you all to keep watch and understand what's happening. It's happening at the federal level, it's happening at the county level, it's happening at the state level, and pretty soon it could happen at the local level. We're losing a lot of control, so I'm here today simply to encourage you all. You all are here in this room, but you all that are listening, keep watch. But don't just keep watch, now start to respond. There are many opportunities to sign up and get engaged. At every level, it is now more critical. We used to take federal stuff for granted. We used to take all the state for granted. Now is the time at every single level of government, we need to keep watch and be engaged. So I'm here to tell you all to be engaged. I'm honored to stand here. Senator West, thank you for doing this. And to all of our elected officials that are here today, all of our community leaders and pastors that are here today, thank you for being here. Now is the time for us to keep watch, see what's happening, and respond accordingly. Thank you so much.
And again, you know, every time you get a sermon, got to make sure you get the notes from the sermon. Here's the deal. Zarin told you that if they can do redistricting at the federal level, they can now come back at the state level, redistrict your state representatives and senators out of office. They can come down to county commissioners. They're already doing it in Tarrant County. It's real. It's happening. And so if they can do it at the county level, if they have the votes, they can do it at the city level, school district level. You get the picture? And we now have representatives at every level of government that have our interests at heart. And so what I'm going to do now is to bring up two organizations that have been around a long time, fighting the fight. I want to bring up former president of LULAC, Mr. Hector Flores. Hector.
Been a long time, Senator, since you ran for district attorney. When I first met him, he ran for district attorney and almost won. But I'm so glad that you took the better road to make and legislate for us here in the state of Texas. I have a lot of comments to make, probably extensive, but our national president right now is headed to Austin, then he's headed to Houston, and of course we're going to be in Arlington, God willing. And of course we oppose what this administration is doing, what the governor is doing, and what the president is doing. You know, this country was founded because we did not want a monarchy many years ago, if you look back at your history. And we didn't want taxation without representation. But you cannot dominate every level of government, now reaching down to the school district and the city and the state and what they're trying to do. I almost feel like I was stabbed in the back when I heard what they're trying to do now in redistricting. Just last month, LULAC was over in El Paso fighting the last civil rights lawsuit against them for redistricting. Where does it stop? I'm not big on technology, but I had to put it on the phone. As was mentioned earlier, the Latino and Black population is what's reshaping Texas. Texas LULAC recognizes the Latino communities have fueled the state's rapid population growth for decades. Between 2010 and 2020, nearly 4 million new residents were added to Texas, half of whom were Latino and many blacks. While the Anglo population has had minimal growth, Latinos surged by almost 2 million. In counties like Harris, Dallas, and the Rio Grande Valley, Latino families have been the driving force behind the state's demographic shift. These numbers are more than statistics. They represent a mandate for equal representation and political empowerment that can no longer be denied. Latinos are now Texas' largest demographic group. You gotta live with it. Texas LULAC highlights that Latinos now comprise the largest share of the state's population, surpassing non-Hispanic whites, with 39.8% of the population compared to 38.7% according to the 2023 census data. This milestone signals a seismic shift in Texas' social and political landscape. Nearly half of all Texans turning 18 are Latino, if you can imagine, and they better vote as soon as they're ready to vote. This growth must be met with fair redistricting plan that reflects the reality and respects the voting power of Latino and Black communities across the state. Redistricting must reflect Latino and Black growth, not deny it. Texas LULAC demands that redistricting plans honor the explosive growth of the Latino and Black populations by increasing, not diminishing, our political voice. The Voting Rights Act requires equal opportunity to elect candidates of our choice. Yet Texas lawmakers have a long history of suppressing Latino and voting strengths. During the last redistricting cycle, maps were drawn that increased the number of majority white districts, ignoring the very communities that had driven the population surge. This cannot continue. Any map that reduces Latino and Black representation is not only unjust, it is illegal and must be challenged, and hopefully all of you here today are going to do exactly that. History shows that Texas had a pattern of discriminatory maps over the last 50 years that I've been in Dallas. Texas LULAC reminds lawmakers that Texas has repeatedly drawn redistricting maps that courts have ruled as discriminatory against Latinos and Blacks. Since the 1970s, no redistricting cycle has passed without legal intervention to correct racial gerrymandering. From El Paso to DFW and the Rio Grande Valley to Bexar and Nueces counties, the courts have found intentional dilution of Latino and Black votes. In 2021, once again, the state failed to create new Latino and Black districts despite clear demographic justification. Enough is enough. Ya basta. Texas deserves maps drawn with integrity and fairness, not litigation, ongoing litigation. Fair redistricting is a constitutional obligation, not a political choice. Texas LULAC strongly asserts that fair representation is not up for debate. It is required by federal law. The U.S. Constitution and the Voting Rights Act demand electoral maps that reflect true demographic shifts. This includes safeguarding existing Latino and Black districts, such as Congressional District 29 from being dismantled under false pretenses. If you can imagine what they're trying to do. Any attempts to withdraw such districts as part of a partisan scheme must be rejected. We reject it. Our communities will not be erased or sidelined. We demand maps that respect our numbers, our rights, and our rightful role in Texas's future. Communities of color continue to lead the fight for fair maps. We must do that energetically. Texas LULAC proudly stands with coalitions of Latinos, Blacks, and Asian American organizations that have consistently led legal efforts to secure fair districting. My time up yet? Yeah. This fight is not new. It's something that we have had over the last 40, 50 years. But we know this is a political power grab, and we can't stand for it. We must prevent the repeat of the 2021 gerrymandering that we encountered. We call for public transparency in the redistricting process. Texas LULAC stands in complete and vocal opposition to any redistricting effort that undermines the will and voice of the Latino and Black communities. We will not allow decades of growth, civic participation, and sacrifice to be erased by political gamemanship, fair maps, or the foundation of a functioning democracy. We call on every Texan and every voter who believes in equal representation to contact their elected officials, attend public hearings, and join us in demanding maps that reflect the true face of Texas, diverse, growing, and unbreakable. Thank you.
You know, and I apologize, as it relates to our Asian community, I didn't reach out far enough to make certain we invite them to our table, because the Asian communities are growing in this state also. And so, to the Asian community, I apologize for not reaching out as far as I should have to get you to the table, but you can be assured that today, I'll make certain that we start reaching out to get you involved in this process also. I'm going to ask Casey Thomas, who has been a member of City Council, been involved in politics for a long time now, Vice President of the NAACP, to come forth and have some brief comments. Come on, Casey.
Good morning. This is personal for me. Whenever our community is under attack, it's personal. I take it personal. I hope you will too. And because of that, I'm gonna stick to my notes. First, thank you, Senator West, for hosting this press conference. I want to thank our state conference president, Gary Bledsoe, for leading this fight all across the state of Texas. Make no mistake, this is a call to action. The Texas NAACP stands against this unnecessary political stunt. Redistricting should only take place every 10 years after we receive the results of the census. Make no mistake, this is about race and not about party. Repeat after me, race, not party. As 4 of the congressional seats, Congressional District 9, Congressional District 18, Congressional District 29, and Congressional District 33, targeted in the letter from the U.S. Justice Department, 32. Targeted, no, 33 was in the letter. In the letter, 33. Targeted letter from Justice Department are held by people of color. All 4 are held by people of color. Now, Congressional District 30 is on the table. We had a meeting with the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and at the end of that call, Ms. T, the Dean of the House, stated that 30 is now on the table and it will be a part of the hearing on Monday. This is an attempt to silence the voices of Black and brown voters in Texas. Politicians should not be able to pick their voters. Voters should be able to pick their politicians. We cannot allow the current resident in the White House, that's what I call him, to have his way because he's afraid that his harmful policies will cost him control of the U.S. House of Representatives. The same way you wouldn't let someone come into your house and rearrange your furniture, we will not allow someone from Washington, D.C. to come into our community and decide who should represent us. Many people say what they would do if they were living during the Civil Rights Movement. Well, this is our Civil Rights Movement. Let me repeat that. This is our Civil Rights Movement, and this is our chance to join the fight. Let us show up this Monday in Arlington and let them know we will not stand for this. Thank you very much.
We've heard a lot, and now we come to the opportunity for you that are present. If you have questions on information that you did not hear that you would like shared, this is an opportunity for us to engage in questions. And ironically, today, Emmett Till was born on this day in 1941. And Emmett Till fought for the very thing that we are standing here today, among others, fighting for. So I want to encourage you, if you have a question, to stand and we'll acknowledge your question. If there are no questions, then I want to remind you, I'm sorry? That's right.
That's the very reason we want to make sure that everyone has that paper. That's how you participate. You make sure that you get involved in those virtual hearings. You can do it from your pajamas, in your bedroom, okay?
Here's a specific thing. If every pastor has a way to connect with your congregation by 2 p.m. today, send them a text message and tell them that by 10 o'clock tonight, they need to register. In that packet, there's a link. If you will send that link out via robocall, text message, on your social media, any avenue that you have to communicate with the masses, send that link, tell them to register by 10 p.m. tonight, and tomorrow morning, jump on that call.
And let me, Julie?
I was going to say, also, it's about a public display of outrage. Dallas County is having a rally tomorrow at 10.
Right.
Get as many people there. We want to have as much demonstration of the outrage of this as possible. And then also use this opportunity to register people to vote. There's a million people who did not vote in 2024 to vote in 2026.
And that rally, is Cardall here? Okay, the rally is where?
10 a.m. at Lake Cliff Park. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Lake Cliff Park, right in the Colorado and Denver. So we'll be at the intersection near 5th and Crawford. I'm Cardall, co-chair of the Dallas County Democratic Party. Glad to be standing with our legislators and making sure that they have the support, rallying behind them, and organizing this movement to make sure we're standing behind them. So thank you all for being here. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow as we continue to fight and support these legislators.
So you could be on your virtual call, standing at the park. How about that? Yes, ma'am.
Understand it better in their language.
Okay.
And we want to get them involved too because it affects them as well.
We'll get it done today.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
now, hold on. Now, we'll get the translation done today, but we need to make certain we're able to get it out to the persons that will help disseminate it today, too.
Most
So,
definitely.
who will help us get it disseminated?
I can do it through social media.
Okay. Any others? Concern?
I was gonna say, Senator West had also been working with Roman, the president of LULAC, and getting out, he said once, Senator West got everything together, that they would help disseminate that amongst our Latino community as well.
Thank you,
So,
appreciate it.
All right, so would you please get with my staff? Let's get it ready for translated and ready for distribution, okay?
Gotcha, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can barely hear you.
We have a group of people working on unified messaging for the state of
Look in your packet.
Yes, all the unified messaging and the talking points are in your packet. Yes, sir.
Okay, after the hearing process is complete, right, you hear from the community, session doesn't end until the 19th of August. How does the community stay engaged? What is our key role after we show up, testify, witness, and share our story?
Thank you very much for the question. That's the very reason we need your email addresses. You need to if you signed in but didn't do your email address, we need that today. And to whoever's on that list, we'll use that list to keep you apprised of exactly what the schedule is for the House and also the Senate and coming down. Thanks to Golden Gate. They will be providing some transportation, and some of us will also be providing transportation to and from Austin. So that's how you stay abreast of what's going on. Nate.
To reiterate the point that's already been made a couple times, this is the battle, as Julie said. There is no guarantee we win it. We are outnumbered. We are going to try to win it. But the real, I hate to use the word war, but here we are. It's 2026. What can you do after this? Following up on your question, don't forget this moment. There's going to be a few weeks of this stuff, but carry this all the way in, because when they redraw these maps, if they succeed at taking 5 minority seats, they are going to destabilize a lot of currently held Republican seats. Let's feed it to them. They think they're picking up 5. Let's take out 10.
Roberto, is there anything you want to add?
No, I'm just here, East Supporter Center. Thank you for inviting me. As all of you know, I was a state rep for 20 years, and I did participate in the legislature in the 90s. In fact, I was a plaintiff in a lawsuit to create a Mexican American district in the North Texas area. And then we were involved also in the 2021 redistricting. And as you recall, some of us to break or stop the redistricting, some of us went to Oklahoma, and the senator went to New Mexico. So this is an ongoing deal. The only thing I'll find out is adding and thinking out loud. One thing is what they might be talking about, but the focus is going to be Julie Johnson's district, it's going to be Craig Casar's district, it's going to be Vicente Rosales' district, Henry Cuellar district, and this is the congresswoman from District 12. The conclusion is this: the talk might be redistricting, but in the end, it's power. Period. They don't know they have the numbers here, but they know they don't have the numbers around the country, so they're inching away. So by us participating and telling our story, we're letting the people know, even though they're trying to distract what it's all about, because as you all have mentioned, it's about the policies that come up. Thank you, Senator.
And question.
Just for communication, is it possible to get a QR code so we can provide information such as emails and contact information? Because sometimes signing in might not be legible, or some might not take the approach. Is it possible to?
If you would stop by the table, then we'll electronically get your information so that we can make sure that it's legible before you exit out. Yes, sir. A young person, we need to hear.
How can the next generation, the youth, get that right now on this?
Tell your other youth and young people to get to their social media. Get the information. If you all get to your social media, your TikTok, reaching people that we are not able to reach or that may not receive the message from us, engage your colleagues and your young people and your friends, and get to your social media and make sure that they are engaged as you are. And thank you so much for being here. And register to vote, absolutely. And I want to say this, Monday night we're at UTA, and UTA is a large campus. So understand where that building is, understand now where we're needing to park. We'll get information out about the generous donation from Golden Gate for transportation. That's another way for our faith communities to engage. If you have a bus, make sure that you're bringing some people over with your church bus or van or carpooling, because we need to plan and activate to be on that campus.
Young man, what is your name? Jackson what? All right, this is what I'd ask you to do. I'd ask you to help us find out who are the main influencers. Is that what they're called? Influencers? I'm just generational, okay? But seriously, if you could help us get, Tyra, if you can help us get the names of some of the main influencers for young people, it would help us gratefully so we can get this information to them and ask them to make certain they begin disseminating it. That's a way that we can get you involved in this, okay? So expect to see you at the table in a few minutes, okay? All right.
Very good. All right, well, we're going to wrap up our time together. We're a couple of minutes over. We didn't want to encumber your entire day, so I want to say thank you so much for coming out And if any media, I know there's some couple of interviews requested for Senator West, and we can take those interviews right up here. And Julie is available for interviews as well. So, thank you so much.